The Little Mermaid is out in theaters now this weekend, guys, and I went out to see it. My initial impressions were, oh, wow, I like this movie. Now, I said at the time in my initial reaction that this was the best live-action adaptation from a cartoon that Disney has done. And I think I got to stand by that. Because there was multiple times in this where I was kind of like, I'm really liking this. Wow. I'm really enjoying this. And Halle Bailey has a lot to do with that. She plays Ariel in this, and I watch her innocence of the character kind of like evolve, and it's you just like locked in to what she's doing on the big screen. Now, the movie comes in at 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's a touch long. Guys, I take this from the perspective that I never saw the cartoon version. So I don't know what has been added to the story or what has been taken out. Okay? So know that about my review as we go in. The synopsis here on IMDb reads, a young mermaid takes a deal with a sea witch to trade her beautiful voice for human legs so she can discover the world above water and impress a prince. Yeah, it makes me kind of want to go back and watch the original, but Halle Bailey in this is a huge standout. Melissa McCarthy is Ursula. Her cackle, her laugh in this is really impressive. When she does her big evil laugh, it's probably the best evil laugh I've heard. Like the next best one, or comparatively, would be Agatha from WandaVision. You remember when she says and I killed Sparky too, and she does that evil laugh. Very comparison to like that kind of like wow kind of from Melissa McCarthy. She owns this role, man. She was born to play Ursula. You could tell she had fun with it, but then she also has that menace to her. Very impressive. She had a singing part where that was one of the moments where I had a grin on my face just going wow. Melissa McCarthy, this is easily my favorite Melissa McCarthy movie. Jonah Howard-King as Prince Eric, meh, he's serviceable. Javier Bardem is the King Triton. Yeah, they do play the father-daughter storyline in this, and Javier Bardem, he has got a really cool ending part of this where he comes to terms with what Ariel wants, and the emotion in his face when he's just kind of like, yeah, God, I'm so glad that they hired him for it. One of my criticisms right up off the bat, though, guys, is a little bit of the CGI in the beginning does take a little bit of getting used to, like the floating around underwater and stuff, because it's not like Avatar where they actually floated underwater for like hours on end trying to get perfect shots. It took a little bit of getting used to, but as I said, you're with Halle Bailey most of the time, and it works. For me, you got to see it on the big screen, though, man. When you see it on the big screen and it's all the colors and stuff, if you're worried about it being too dark and too drab, don't worry about that. There's going to be people out there, there's going to be the outrage culture that'll be circling the bandwagon saying that, oh, that's a bird that can't breathe underwater for that long. Oh, that's Sebastian's a crab that can't talk like that, or Sebastian can't breathe underwater as well. There's going to be a bunch of like moronic videos posted out there and stuff, but don't get on it, because Halle Bailey was awesome. She truly was. I was just, when she does her first big song, part of that world or whatever, there's a part right before she sings that part where she really opens up, and you're just like, wow. At least that's the way I was in the theater. I was like, wow, she is very impressive. And Halle Bailey is somebody that I want to take a look at in the future and just watch her career, man. She's got a bright future ahead of her, and she's one of the reasons why I want to go back and watch this movie again. I said that Daveed Diggs as Sebastian, did a fantastic job in this. He's another highlight of this movie too. When he does the song "Under the Sea," uh, David Diggs. If you don't know who he is, he did that uh, show Snowpiercer, and yeah, you're gonna fall in love with Sebastian in this. Um, there's a big article up on Variety right now where he talks about his character and getting into character and trying to do different things with it and stuff like that. You're gonna love this little crab. You will, and a lot of that has to do with his voice, how he's able to command his voice, um, and he works well with Aquafina, who plays the bird. I think it's Jacob Tremblay that plays the fish. Yeah, Jacob Tremblay plays Flounder, but yeah, David Diggs and Melissa McCarthy, Javier Bardem, standouts. Great, great supporting cast for Halle Bailey, and this is going to really put it on their map for a lot of people. As I said, Jonah Hauer-King was kind of serviceable. He's the token stud. I've said that countless times. The typical kind of guy that falls in love with the Disney princess. He worked. He had one solo number that was kind of like whatever. It's over fast enough that yeah. He did. You believe the chemistry between him and Ariel at least, right? Um, yeah. So knowing that that I haven't seen the cartoon version that comes in at an hour and a half, that they've added 45 minutes of extra story in this. I can't tell you what they have added and if it works or not. Now, in context of this story, could you have tightened some of the stuff in the beginning? Yes, for sure. And I don't know how that's going to play out on a repeat viewing, but I do want to watch this movie again. Uh, because in the first act of a movie, you do a lot of stuff establishing characters, establishing the sets and the mood and stuff. Kind of like, I'm guessing that's where a lot of the stuff got added in. Could we have foregone some of that stuff? Maybe. And I hope that stuff with the prince, Jonah Hauer-King, he's got a side character, Sir Grimsby, played by Art Malik, and he's also a real standout too. The supporting cast in this is phenomenal. He's kind of like he's like the captain, or he plays like you know a castleman that like works with the queen and stuff like that. But he does also a very good job in this. There's a scene in here where he's just talking to him about looking at what's in front of you instead of in the future or what could be and stuff. And I saw that scene and I was like, wow, that guy's worth checking out. And it's the culmination of those little things that permeate throughout this entire movie that makes it as a collective whole for me to say, thumbs up, man. You got to check this out. Yeah, there's going to be people nitpicking the small stuff. Oh, the CGI is, they shouldn't even try this stuff. But it's kind of like, it's only a small part of it. Once they get up on land and stuff like that, and then as I said, when the payoffs come around, I dug it, man. It was a little crammed towards the end with Ursula, a touch, but again, as I said, you forgive it because Melissa McCarthy and the way that she portrayed it. So what are people saying about this movie? Let's go over the tomato meter as 11:30 a.m. on Friday morning. This movie just opened up today, guys, so this is before everybody goes out and sees it. 68% by critics, 95% by the audience, and this is going to be one of those movies where yeah, it's going to be immune to a certain level of criticism. The critics, I'm just going to refresh it here. The critics are going to be a little bit harder on it. And as I said about the pacing and stuff like that, I would imagine. But the audience, I hope they come out of the theater like me with a big smile on my face going, wow, I like The Little Mermaid. Unbelievable. Okay, so let's go over and take a look at some of the snapshot reviews and see what the critics were saying. See if we agree with them. ABC News did like it. It said, while it can't match the effortless charm of the 1989 film, this overstuffed live-action echo fills the title role with shining new star Halle Bailey, who gives the musical just the Oomph it needs a heart that sings, and spirit that soars. Well, that's a weird. Again, as I said, this is also going to be this is part of the audience that a lot of people who saw the original animated movie are going to be comparing it. I'm somebody who can't, right? Let's take a look at the Huffington Post, who didn't like it. Yes, to have a black princess in a major Hollywood film is sadly forward thinking in 2023, but there is nothing innovative or reformist about what happens in this movie. It doesn't have to be, man. You don't change the story of it just to accommodate some kind of social narrative. Again, there's going to be people like that coming at this movie as well, guys. So this is why, hopefully you see my reviews and you're kind of like, well, at least I'm looking at it with this perspective. I'm able to pull back and look at it all and say, okay, guys, I'm going to try to give you something a little bit balanced here, right? I acknowledge that there's that little bit of adjustment to the CGI in the beginning. I acknowledge that there's a little bit crammed towards the end there. I acknowledge that stuff, but I still came out and said that the culmination of all the good stuff in it will override that. Boston Globe says, for the most part, I had a good time at The Little Mermaid. The film is buoyed by its actors and some of the visuals. And Awkwafina and Sebastian, they had great chemistry. It worked, man. You'd be like, well, how can this little crab win me over? It doesn't have any emotions. The crab doesn't. Sebastian doesn't suffer from the same thing as the live action Lion King did, where it was like, yeah, they're cats. They can't show the emotions. A lot of that has to do with David Diggs and his ability to work his voice. He's just so charming, and it's like, I want to watch it again, man. I really do. I'm giving this a lot of praise. Perhaps I'm overselling it. I'm not going to when I give my score for it, though. You'll see that a bit. But you talk so well of it. Well, we'll get to that part. The New Yorker says it adds hints of a complicated world beyond the narrow realms of fantasy. It delivers earnest cheer. Yeah, it does. Yeah, there's moments in this where you'd be just like, that's impressive. That's impressive. Halle Bailey's performance keeps the film from drowning, but it still flounders quite a bit, and that's a positive review. That's a positive review. Wow. Yeah. The marketing campaign for this was terrible too. I mean, look at this character poster. This is awful. This is not what you should be doing, guys. You need that colorful stuff, and you should really be highlighting Ursula. You really should. Don't be. They started off hiding her, and you shouldn't, man. Because Melissa McCarthy knocks it out of the park. She does. Okay, so I think that's pretty much all I've got to say about the film. Little Mermaid. Totally worth seeing. What do I rank it? Not as high as the audience, 95%. It's not a 9.5 film. But it's not quite as low as a 6.8, guys. For me, I had fun with this. I really did. I would give The Little Mermaid an 8 out of 10. Wow. Yes. I had that much fun with it. It does make me want to go back and watch the animated one and see what the differences were. It does. But I would be watching that, being aware that it was made in a different time. It was made years ago in a different culture, mindset, frame. Javier Bardem, too, at the end of this, guys. He shows his weight. He shows his weight as an actor. And I like that dynamic, that father-son, or the father-daughter dynamic there. It was cool. I dug it. All right, guys, that's it for me. What did you think about this? Let me know in the comments below, and we will talk about it. Hit that thumbs up button. You're watching Mirror Domains. All right. What was that moment at the end? Since we don't have any live comments today, this quick spoiler stuff. Basically, if you know the original story, he says goodbye to her at the end, and right, and his emotions. He doesn't. You just see it in his eyes, right? And that's the power of Javier Bardem. He says something like,